Hello everyone, I am Ama Eyo, a lawyer of Black heritage, trained in Nigeria and the United Kingdom. As we celebrate Black History Month this year, I invite you into a conversation to showcase contributions from people of Black and Asian minority ethnic groups to the legal professions in Wales and the United Kingdom. I also want to draw your attention to some of the challenges we face. To start the conversation, I share with you some contributions from our earliest trendsetters. Then I highlight some statistics on the current state of diversity in terms of our representation in the legal professions, including some challenges that we face in navigating opportunities. Finally, I celebrate a recent success story. In doing this, I hope I can challenge you to think about the contributions that you can make to dismantle barriers for people like me, presently in the legal professions, and those who aspire to join the professions someday. Now, let's go back to the beginning. Available evidence, though patchy, suggests that in the early 1700s, ethnic minority men joined the Inns of Court and were also called to the bar. Our first trendsetter is Francis Williams, a gentleman of Jamaican heritage, who was admitted to Lincoln's Inn in August 1721. Though born a free slave, there was an attempt to subsequently take away this privilege from him. This was in form of a law that was enacted at that point in time, which sought to restrict the freedom of freed slaves. Dissatisfied with the position, using his legal training, skills, and experiences, Williams instituted a petition against the law. He succeeded in getting a positive outcome, as in 1732, the Privy Council in London decided the petition in Mr. Williams' favor. Another notable trendsetter of this era is a gentleman called Christian Frederick Cole, who was from Sierra Leone in West Africa. He was admitted to the Inner Temple in 1883. Christian Cole lived only for 33 years, but during his lifetime, he used his legal training to navigate the racial and cultural barriers of Victorian Britain. He also represented and fought for defendants before the Central Criminal Court, known as the Old Bailey. One notable feature about these early trendsetters from the minority ethnic heritage in the legal professions is that they were all male. This is because even though some females had graduated with law degrees, they were unable to commence legal practice. However, in the 1900s, precisely in 1919, when the Sex Disqualification Removal Act came into force, females then gained the opportunity to qualify and join their male counterparts in the legal profession. Among those early trendsetters were some females that I look up to. One of them was Mitten Adashi Tata from Bombay, who came to London at the age of 20, and another was Cornelia Sorabji, who achieved the feat of becoming the first woman to practice law in both India and Britain, and who was also the first woman to ever sit the Bachelor of Civil Laws exam at Oxford University. As we celebrate Black History Month and reflect on the contributions made by these early trendsetters, several questions come to my mind. First, when we look at the ethnicities represented in today's legal professions, how diverse is the legal professions in terms of representation for people from minority backgrounds? Second, what can we do to ensure that their contributions can pave more positive outcomes for people from minority heritage, interested in making contributions to the legal professions in Wales and beyond. This leads me to the next conversation about representation of people of minority ethnic backgrounds in the legal professions. Available reports provide us with some startling statistics. The first notable statistics comes from the Solicitors Regulatory Authority, which in its March 2020 report, which uses data from 96% of law firms representing more than 186,000 people working in over 9,000 firms in Wales and England, shows some interesting information. Importantly, the report shows that the proportion of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic lawyers working in law firms is 21%. This comprises 15% Asian solicitors, 3% Black solicitors, and 2% solicitors from multiple or mixed ethnicity groups. And 1% of those groups are classified as from other minority ethnic groups. Another startling report is that from the Law Society. This report shows that while white solicitors make up 83% of the solicitors' population, ethnic minority solicitors account for 17% of solicitors in England and Wales. This comprises 10% of solicitors from Asian origin, 3% from Black origin, 2% from Chinese, and another 3% from other minority ethnic origin. How does Wales fare in this narrative? I went deeper to look at the ethnicity of solicitors by region, and it's interesting that from the Law Society's report, 96% of the solicitors in Wales are from white backgrounds, while only 4% are from Black, Asian, and minority ethnic groups. More interesting narratives can be discerned from more reports. For example, the SRA report highlights the challenges that minority ethnic women face, both in terms of the limitations of their gender and in terms of the limitation of their ethnic background. The report notes that Black women are 6 times less likely than white men to progress to partnership level in law firms. A more startling narrative is that on average, white solicitors are paid £20,000 per year more than their counterparts from minority ethnic groups. As we move on, I want to share with you a lived experience from a young criminal barrister, Alexandra Wilson. In her commentary, she highlights the biases and inequalities she experiences as a Black barrister. In her words, too often I am assumed to be the defendant or a member of the defendant's family rather than the legal representative. I made international headlines one afternoon in the summer of 2020 when I tweeted about my experience of being mistaken for a defendant in a magistrate court multiple times in one day. The tweet went viral, and soon the case was being reported on the radio, on the television, and in newspapers. While I think it's important to raise awareness of incidents like this, it was exhausting being asked repeatedly about the incident and facing harsh comments from some people who claim that I had a chip on my shoulder. This narrative illustrates some of the challenges that people from minority backgrounds experience while navigating the legal professions. As we celebrate Black History Month, can we in Wales think about solutions to help dismantle such barriers and challenges? This is particularly important because the representation of people from minority ethnic background in the legal profession in Wales is extremely low. In particular, we need to navigate solutions that can help improve the recruitment, retention, and progression of people from this group into the legal professions. As we know, representation matters. Also, we must take proactive steps to decolonize the curriculum. We must provide career development opportunities for minority students, and we should take opportunities to showcase role models from minority groups as positive representation of the legal professions. Leaving aside the gloomy narratives, let's celebrate a recent success in the person of Stephanie Boyce, who was appointed the 177th President of the Law Society of England and Wales. For me, Stephanie represents a real inspiration, as she's the first Black person and the first woman to navigate to such a distinguished position. This gives me a glimmer of hope. So in closing this conversation, I invite us in North Wales to join Ms. Boyce in her commitment to dismantling the inequalities in the legal profession. Let's introduce solutions to change the narrative faced by Black, Asian, and minority ethnic lawyers, as well as the aspiring lawyers. Thank you.